good day, and welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's not waste no time. Let's get right to it. So, Dennis Johnson, one of the best players in the history of the NBA Hall of Famer, three-time NBA champion with the Sonics and the Boston Celtics. Okay. So, he went to Dominguez High School, and he was born in Compton, California. Attended Dominguez High School. He was only 5'9", but he actually grew to 6'3" during high school, and he was called what they called at that time rocket launcher legs, which means Dennis Johnson could jump high to get rebounds over bigger, taller opponents. And so he went to Los Angeles Harbor College, which is a junior college first. He averaged 18.3 points per game and 12 rebounds per game. But he had issues with his coach and was thrown off the team 2 times in his 3 years there. Then, after 3 years at a junior college, he went to Pepperdine, okay? And averaged 15.7 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game. And so he was known to have character issues, which is probably why he was taken in the second round, 29th overall, in 1976 by the Seattle Supersonics. And he was coming to a team that already had Slick Watts. So he was backing up Slick Watts. Bill Russell was still the coach at that time. He spent 4 seasons in Seattle. Was a 2-time NBA All-Star. And it was in his second season in 1978 where Lenny Wilkins put him in the starting lineup with Gus Johnson and rookie Jack Sikma. But he was also a backup to Fred Brown in his rookie season too. He only averaged about 9.2 points per game and 1.5 assists per game in his rookie year. But then, like I said, after starting 5-17, the Sonics did in 1978. Lenny Wilkins made a change. He put Jack Sikma in, DJ and Gus Johnson. Led them to the 78 NBA Finals, where they lost a tough 7-game series where Dennis Johnson shot 0 for 14 in Game 7. So, he had improved in his second season, 1978, averaging 12.7 points, 2.8 assists per game. And in Game 3 of the 1978 NBA Finals, he actually had 7 blocks, okay? And Dennis Johnson was a guard. So that was the NBA record for blocks. So Dennis Johnson had 7 blocks in Game 3 of the 1978 NBA Finals, which Seattle won 93-92. Okay. So they come back for 1979. Seattle does. Johnson is pretty solid again. 15.9 points per game, 3.5 assists per game. Seattle finished with a 50-32 record. Knocked out the Lakers in the playoffs on the way to the second straight finals appearance. Johnson got finals MVP this time. Named finals MVP. They come back for 1980, okay? And he averages 19 points a game. So his scoring average went up again. 19 points per game, 4.1 assists per game. But I mentioned character issues, okay? So I mentioned he got kicked off the team 3 times. No, 2 times in 3 years. at his junior college because he didn't see eye to eye with his coach. Well, apparently Lenny Wilkins had gotten tired of him, okay? Lenny Wilkins had gotten tired of Dennis Johnson's attitude. And they traded Dennis Johnson to the Phoenix Suns for Paul Westphal, okay? And Paul Westphal played in only 37 games in 1981. But Dennis Johnson, he averaged between 14 and 20 points per game. Was a two-time All-Star with the Phoenix Suns. Okay, was known for his tough defense, scoring ability. He always took the best defensive player on the other team, which made life easier for Walter Davis and Alvin Adams. Was doing pretty well with his Phoenix, but then character issues showed up again. There were reports from some teammates that Dennis Johnson did not like to practice. There were some reports that Dennis Johnson did not like to practice, and that didn't go over well with Coach John McLeod, who was coach of the Suns at that time. And so Dennis Johnson didn't like to practice, and then he started feuding with John McLeod. Then the Suns got tired of him. So then he was traded to Boston for Rick Roby. Okay. And that's where Johnson really thrived. I mean, he was thriving in Seattle. He was thriving in Phoenix, but he really thrived in Boston because he became more of a lockdown defender, playmaking point guard. Okay. And Dennis Johnson could dunk in his days with Seattle and Phoenix. Okay. But again, he became more of a playmaker, defensive lockdown player. Okay. With the Celtics. Okay. So, his first season, 1984, he averaged 13.2 points per game, 4.2 assists per game, and did a pretty good job on Magic Johnson in the 84 finals. He had a key steal in Game 7 of the 84 finals, where he actually took the ball away from Magic Johnson in the closing seconds of the game, and Magic Johnson fouled him. DJ sank the free throws. Okay. And so he comes back for 85, averages almost 17 points per game, 7.3 assists per game, as the Celtics went 62-20. And again, met the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Dennis Johnson had himself a pretty good series, including hitting the game-winning shot in Game 4, where DJ came down with the ball. He dished it to Bird. Bird penetrated, threw it right back out to Johnson, hit the game-winning shot. So, Lakers won 1-6, unfortunately. But 1986, 17.8 points per game, 6.7 assists per game, as they went all the way back to the finals where they beat the Houston Rockets in 6. He was also involved in the Sampson versus Jerry Seasting fight. He received the cut on the side, on the side right here. He received the cut, and Craig Elo actually ran out to hand Dennis Johnson a towel. So they ended up fining Craig Elo for leaving the bench, believe it or not. But they came back for 1987, had another good year, 1987. The 87 Eastern Conference Finals, okay? It was the 87 Eastern Conference Finals. Bird had driven in. Rick Mahorn had knocked it off of Jerry Seasting, and the officials ruled it Boston ball. And Isaiah Thomas, we all know, he got the ball in quickly. Bird steals it. Johnson scores the wing basket. Okay. So the Pistons go back and win Game 6 in the Silverdome. And there was an incident that took place between Dennis Johnson and Dennis Rodman, where Dennis Rodman took his right hand and did it like this over Dennis Johnson's head. Okay. So the Celtics win Game 7, and Dennis Johnson retaliated by doing the same thing to Rodman in Game 7. So, I don't know what that was all about, but yeah. His averages went down to 12.6 points per game and nearly 8 assists per game in 1988. 89, 10 points per game, 6.5 assists per game. Larry Bird was pretty much injured that whole year, bone spurs in his feet. Then in his last season, 1990, the Celtics had actually replaced him with John Bagley in the starting lineup. So John Bagley was the starting point guard, but John Bagley hurt his shoulder. Okay. So Dennis Johnson was again starting in place of John Bagley. And so for his final season, he averaged 7.1 points per game and 6.5 assists per game. Okay. So in 1990, he started 65 of the 75 games that he played in. Okay. So the Celtics didn't offer him a contract after the season. And so he retired after the 1990 season. And of course, his replacement was D. Brown. So yeah. That's the career of Dennis Johnson. Had some character issues in Seattle and Phoenix. But it's just something about coming to Boston that really cleans you up. That really cleans up your attitude. And oh yeah. He didn't have no character issues in Boston. Because especially when Larry Bird calls you the greatest teammate he's ever played with. So, yeah. All right. That's it. And that's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. Peace out. God bless.